Okay, good. All right. Um, let's see. Okay. So, first, we'll get started with a little bit of an introduction. So, welcome everybody. My name's Dr. Maureen Kelleher, and I am one of the founders of AcuroVet, and I am here today with a very special guest who I will allow to introduce herself. So, will you please introduce yourself? Let us know a little bit about you, who you are, and tell us about your practice and what your typical day looks like.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. My name is Ralitsa Grancharova-Hill. I'm a Bulgarian vet. I'm currently practicing in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. And I'm strictly a holistic veterinarian, working predominantly with small animals, with occasional equine patients. And on a daily basis, I see mainly dogs, occasionally cats, and some exotic animals. And every so often, I will go and see a horse on a farm visit.
Excellent. That sounds very exciting. Probably a big change for a lot of our usual practitioners to see some exotics in their practice. So, what specifically drew you to small animals and exotics?
So originally, I was an equine vet, but interest in acupuncture and holistic veterinary care grew for me. And so when I was predominantly treating horses conventionally before, I'm now just mainly treating small animals because I just acquired so many clients that were interested in that kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's how it happened, really. It wasn't planned.
Yes, sometimes that happens in life, doesn't it? Best laid plans. Excellent. So, what are some of the unique challenges you think face small animal practitioners, or actually, in your case, holistic practitioners compared to other types of practices?
So I can compare my practice when it was conventionally primarily equine to what I do now. So originally, when I was predominantly treating horses, doing farm calls, I was really busy. I would say my work-life balance wasn't the greatest. That's why I'm really happy with what I do now because I have a lot more control over my spare time, my workload. I don't do emergency calls anymore. So I really enjoy what I do. I also enjoy seeing small animals. I find that, at least in my case, the owners are more dedicated to continuing the treatment and the therapy and to doing the follow-ups for small animals as compared to horses. I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but just that's my experience. So I really like that. I like that I've been able to treat an animal and then see a progression of how it's improving or not over the course of months to years, sometimes even.
Great, great. So we're going to dive a little bit into AcuroVet specifically and how it has helped you. So could you tell a little bit about how, before you used AcuroVet, what were some of your bigger frustrations with managing your practice?
So before I was using AcuroVet, I was using several different ways of managing my practice. I didn't have one place where I had all my client contacts, my client history. So I was constantly going backwards and forwards between different apps, different ways of looking at the history of the patient, then taking on my notes in a different place. Honestly, it was really frustrating at times, really difficult to find the history and then take the notes. And just ever since I started using AcuroVet, it's made my life a lot easier.
Well, we're certainly happy to hear that. And how long have you been using AcuroVet?
I think it's been about 3 years.
Okay, great. And do you remember why you ultimately chose AcuroVet over some of the other options you may have looked at?
Yeah, so when originally I decided that I'm going to go for a veterinary software, I did a lot of research. I think I spent a couple of weeks just going through all the different software companies, and then narrowed it down to a few of them. I had interviews with them, email exchanges, and in the end, it was between a CureVet and another company. Um, and you guys were both similarly priced. But for me, because I was running a holistic practice, it was really, really important for me that CureVet had these options. Um, and just the fact that I can, for example, select acupuncture points really quickly, um, the client communication with a Cure Pet, just everything about the app makes my job so much easier and so much quicker. I really, really like it. And obviously, the financial aspect was really important because I'm the sole vet that's using a Cure Vet at the moment. And another thing that really tilted the scales towards a CureVet was, and still is the support. I find that when I have a question or problem with the app, the support is really, really quick. I think the worst response time I've had is 48 hours, and sometimes it's even less than a day. And that's really, really important.
Excellent. Good, good. All right. So, have you noticed? It sounds like you have, but maybe you could give us a few examples of how you've seen some improvements in your client communication or your client satisfaction since you've started using AcuroVet.
So a lot of my clients have mentioned that they use an AcuroVet. Um, Almost all of them download it straight away as soon as they learn about it because their vets don't have something like that. They like that they can have a chart for the pet where I can write stuff down about our appointments, but they'll also like that they can upload documents and exams from their own vet on there so they can keep track of everything. They like the fact that they can go through it and see when the next appointment is. They like the appointment reminders that they get. They like the charts. They're just generally really happy with it.
Fantastic. Good to hear. Um, and it sounds like you're a solo person in the practice. Do you have any other staff that helps you manage your practice? And do they have any input on how AcuroVet has helped their daily workflow?
So there's actually two vets in our practice. We both use holistic medicine to treat our patients, but the other vet in the practice does not use a CureVet. However, despite that, her and the referral vets that send me patients are really happy with the fact that I can forward patient histories very easy and very quickly. They like that everything is very organized, and specifically the fact that I can select which information I send them, so they don't get too much. Um, that's that's something they appreciate a lot.
That's a nice contrast. Good to hear. Um, and let's see. Well, it sounds like compared to how you just in general from your previous uh, practice life, your work life balance has changed. Um, uh, but it may AcuroVet itself may have also altered your work life balance a little bit. Can you talk about that a little bit as well?
So before I started using a CureVet, my appointments were an hour and a half long, and they still are an hour and a half long. But previously, that whole time was taken up by going through the old history, taking notes down. So really, a lot of the time I should have spent with a patient. I was spending on my phone, going through all of that information, trying to take down notes, specifically writing out to each individual acupuncture point that I was using, which is a lot of work. And ever since I started using the CureVet, I can just select the points that I use. I can take quick few notes. I can do the accounting very quickly. I know that you can add text via speech as well. Just generally, all these options make my job so much quicker that instead of spending the whole hour and a half with the patient and writing down notes, I halved my time. And even with that, most of my time is concentrated on the patient itself and on talking with the client instead of being on my phone and writing stuff down.
Yeah, I bet the animal's owner also appreciate that connection that you have with them as well. You're spending way more time face to face with them and engaging with them and the animal, and so that probably makes the bond that all of you share much tighter, and that makes for longevity of a patient relationship. Business wise, very good as well. Great. Okay. So if there were vets out there that were hesitant to switch software, what would you tell them?
So I'm not someone that uses all the features of AcuroVet because my practice is strictly holistic. So I don't have experience with all the options that it offers. But for what it does offer for holistic practice, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've already mentioned a few of the things that I like. But generally, if a lot of people are like me, a lot of vets are like me, we're not very good with accounting, we're not very good with note taking. Primarily our job isn't that. Our primary job is to treat our patients, to talk to our clients. So anything that makes that job easier, really, and quicker is such a huge help. And like I said, for me, AcuroVet's made that so much simpler and easier.
Yeah, and really that's why we got into this business, right? Is to take care of our patients. So that's fabulous. Mm-hmm. Good. Excellent. Well, do you have any final thoughts or words of encouragement for anybody out there looking to streamline their business or their practice?
I think as someone who's used AcuroVet for about 3 years now and hasn't actually considered switching, I think that says enough. Particularly if you're a holistic practitioner, I think it's a really good app to use. I highly and truly recommend it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. We appreciate your time very much, and we certainly appreciate your dedication to your patients, and we definitely appreciate your support in your business. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.